Hello, Kathy. Now, I watched your video, the one with Funky Yoga Bonito's images on it, and I have to admit that I'm quite perturbed by it. Let me tell you why that is, because I feel personally addressed in that video for the following reason. You address it at people, from the way I interpret it, to people who are atheists and who love science. And I would obviously include myself in that number. You don't qualify it by saying this only applies to those of you who, so I feel personally addressed by that video. And because of that, that video has upset me somewhat, because I have tried, by making an earlier video and by posting comments on your videos, to address the points you're raising, and I feel that after I've done that, you are still reiterating the same points, which is bothering me because it seems like you're not listening. Okay. You see, listening to your video, I'm noticing a number of different things. The first thing I notice is that you seem to have a perception about scientists, or people who love science, which is more than just scientists. You seem to have this obsession about them, this misconception that they think that they can either have the answers or arrive at the answers to everything, that they can know everything. And that is patently absurd. What a scientist is really about is to find regularities in nature, to find set patterns of behavior by matter or by subjects or whatever, so that he or she can formulate a rule as to that behavior. That doesn't mean that by doing so you gain something like absolute knowledge. Far from it. Let's, for example, look at something really simple, such as Newton's law of motion and Newton's law of gravity. And if you look at those rules are quite simple. They're fairly simple mathematical formulae that describe how pieces of matter behave. But apply that to not even a very complicated model. Just three objects in space approaching each other and feeling each other's influence of gravity, so that they start revolving around each other. And even though the rules governing that behavior are very simple, the actual behavior cannot be computed. It's too complex. It cannot be worked out. So even though we know, using Newton's laws of motion and of gravity, exactly what rules govern the behavior of those objects, we still cannot work out what they're going to do. So anybody who thinks that science can yield all the answers, or who can impart complete knowledge, is a fool. And yet, I've tried to explain this to you, and yet you keep making that point. You keep making the observation that scientists seem to think they have all the answers. I wish you would drop that, because it simply isn't true. That's the first thing. The second thing I noticed about your video is that you seem to think that every passionate utterance made by a human being is a reflection on that human being themselves. And I think that is nonsensical. Now, you are a psychologist, you claim, and I am not. But it is simple common sense to see that that can't be a universal law. And that is what I find funny about your video. Because you are the one who is arguing against sweeping generalizations, and yet here you are presenting one. What is that all about? You see, what people like I get passionate about, and I can only obviously speak for myself, but what I get passionate about is people who are trying to defraud other people. Does that mean, therefore, by your logic, that I am two-faced or a deceiving person deep within myself? I certainly would hope that that is not the accusation you're making there. You see, it is one thing to respect a person's beliefs, but it is quite another thing to then allow them to make statements that you know are factually incorrect or that are clearly intended to deceive. The fact that they claim that our utterances are based on some strong personal belief should not make any difference, cannot make any difference in that regard. If somebody like, for example, Venom Fang X posts a video in which he is clearly and blatantly deceiving his viewers, then it is my right to post a video exposing the deception that is taking place and exposing him as the fraud that he is. That is no reflection on me, I wouldn't think. I have absolutely no problems respecting people's beliefs, insofar as those beliefs are applied to themselves. If somebody says, I am a Christian, and that belief gives me a great peace of mind and makes my life richer, then that is perfectly fine with me. What I have a problem with is people who say, you should be a Christian, and if you're not, you're going to be in trouble. Because once a person decides to apply their belief and project it on somebody else, then they owe that somebody else an explanation. And I will not let people get away with making absolutist statements without substantiation. And I cannot see how that should be a reflection upon me.